Okay, so I know we took a quiz on Tuesday, but I still got people finishing, and we were going to go over it today, but instead we are going to go over it on Monday. Okay, so today's the last day of the week. Okay, for our warm-ups. If you don't do your warm-ups, you're losing 20 points every day that you don't do them, right? And this should be an easy 100 every week. Okay, so please, you have to write down the date, the goal, the objective, which is right here. Every day, it's right here at the top. And then you have to do what we're doing, okay? We got to move on now. But if that's you, unfortunately, that's going to cost you some points. I do need you to pass these up, okay? When we finish going over this. Let me go over it first real quick, okay? So, let me show this. All right, now I'm going to show it on Thursday, but you want to do it on Friday. It is what it is, okay? Now, the warm-up said to copy this segment, okay? So when you copy a segment, you gotta, first step, draw, using your ruler, draw yourself a segment, okay? If you haven't done that, you need to do that, okay? So first step to copy a segment is to draw a segment. And then your second step is you have to measure it. So again, I'm measuring that little segment on this warm-up sheet underneath the day of the week, okay? I'm doing it on Thursday, but you're doing it on Friday, same thing. Okay, so check it out. The way you measure it is with your compass, right? From here to here. And what you do is you come over to your segment, put your pointy point at the end, and make a nice light mark, okay? Now, I said this yesterday, but I'm gonna say it again. When you're doing this, okay, here's the rhyme. You hold the pointy point tight, and you keep the pencil light. Bars, right? When you do that, if you keep it light, it won't mess up. But if you press hard on the pencil, if you push into the compass, it's gonna move stuff and mess you up, okay? And let me show you, again, here's the big version, ready? Let's say this is the pointy point. Pointy point tight, pencil light. And you wanna lean into it when you do it, okay? That keeps it nice and it doesn't mess it up, okay? All right, now, up here, now I copied this segment over here to here, cool? Now, the second thing it said on our warm-up was to make an equilateral triangle, right? So here's how you do that. You don't have to change this, you can keep it the way it is, but you put it at that intersection that you just made, put the pointy point there, and make an arc up top, okay? So I just did that, and then you bring the pointy point over to the end point that you started with, and you make an arc up top. It should look kind of like an X, a curvy X, okay? Now I can connect both of these points to this top point, and it should be an equilateral triangle. Okay, I did it earlier over here, so there's two examples of the same thing. It should be equilateral. All right, so that's your warm-up. Every day should have something. If you're absent a day, you can put absent on that day. But every other day should have the objective and the warm-up. So pass those up to the front. Easy 100, hopefully, right? Oh, real quick, check, make sure your name's on it. I've been getting a bunch of no names today. Those end up going in that red no name folder on the side. And guess what? People usually forget about them, never turn them in. I agree. We got a lot to do with this. All right, any more warm-ups? Every time you get this, always put your name first. If you don't have the notes on your desk, you want to make sure you have the notes on your desk, please, and we're going to finish those up. We have 3 more things to learn today, and only a little bit of time, so let's take a look at that. This is where we ended last time. So we're going to be on the next page that says bisect a segment. Okay, everyone should have these notes. Okay, so as you can see on the board, this was last time. No, we don't have headphones in our ears, right? No headphones? Okay. So next page, flip it over. Bisecting a segment, okay? So let's read this. First step, when you have a segment, you draw an arc, okay? Second is you draw the same arc from the other side. Okay, see this kind of looks like football maybe? What you're going to do is you're going to connect this intersection to this intersection. I guess I should show you over here. So you draw an arc from one side, you draw the same arc from the other side, and if you connect this point and this point with the ruler, you're going to end up getting the midpoint, M. So that segment you drew is a segment bisector, perpendicular bisector, and then that point is called the midpoint. Okay, so let's try this together. So everybody, here's what we're doing. On this segment, I want you to put your pointy point on B. Okay, so everyone's got your compass in your hand. Put your pointy point on B, and make sure your pencil is past halfway. If it's not past halfway, it's not going to do what we need it to do, right? So, here we go. You're going to make a big arc, okay? Again, tight on the pointy point, light on the arc. Make it big, okay? Now, I'm going to redo mine. I was being a little careless, okay? Past halfway. Gentle. Nice and gentle. Rotating your paper sometimes is the easiest way, okay? Now, don't change your compass. This needs to stay the same. And put your pointy point on A, on the other side now, and make the same big arc. It has to intersect twice. So make sure you see 2 intersections, one up top, one on the bottom. Almost kind of looks like a Jesus fish going up and down. Last step, you got to connect those 2 intersections. That's going to cut it in half. And that point, you want to call it M. That's the midpoint. You just cut it in half, and that's the midpoint. Cool. Try it on your own at the bottom. If you didn't already do it successfully, you can do that one or the one at the bottom. This one's kind of too loose. Let's try that. Check it out. Go past halfway. Right here. Make an arc. Go to the other side. You make the same arc. And then you connect that to that. And that is your midpoint. Okay? So try that down here. I think most people did the bottom one already. Looks like this. They all look the same when you're doing this, pretty much. And that's my midpoint. On back. So number 4 and 5, you're just doing the same thing again. So knock these out real quick. And then you connect them. And that's your M. Same thing with number 5. And you connect them. So again, each time we're doing this, we're making a perpendicular bisector and creating the midpoint. Now real quick, what's weird about number 6? What does it say to make? 4 parts. Now, when you cut something in half, how many parts are there? 2, right? So what do I have to do next to make it into 4 congruent parts? If I cut each half in half, then I'll have 4 parts, right? So what you're going to do on number 6 is you're going to make 3 midpoints. You have a midpoint in the middle, and then each segment has its own midpoint. Okay? I'm going to do that real quick, but then we're going to move on. So if you don't finish it, at least you see it up at the front. Okay? So on number 6, here we go. Now I'm just going to go a little bit past halfway, just a little bit. Okay. All right, I got my midpoint. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this segment, from here to M. Okay? I'm going to go a little bit past halfway. Cool. And then on the other side, same thing. All I got to do is connect those intersections. So we'll call this midpoint 1, midpoint 2, midpoint 3. All right. But if you didn't finish that one, don't worry about it. We need to go to the next one because time is short. I really want to make sure we go through angles. So everybody, no matter where you're at, you can come back to this if we have time. But let's go on to angles. I want everyone looking at this page that says copying an angle. So again, everybody's looking at the sheet that's the page that says copying an angle. Okay? Now let's talk about the steps for copying an angle. Copying an angle. Step 1 says to draw a segment. I know you can do that, right? Step 2, it says you're going to draw arcs. So I want you to look at this. The arc you make on the original angle has to match the arc you put on the new segment. Okay? Step 3, you're going to measure B to C, this measurement, like this, and then you come over here and you make a little mark. X marks the spot. Then you can draw a line through it. Okay? Now, if those steps don't make sense, I'm going to show you. We're going to do this together. So everybody's doing this with me. Okay? Here we go. First step is to draw a segment. Let me draw the segment off to the side here. So I'm going to put a point, and then I'm going to draw my segment. Okay. So step 1 was draw a segment. Step 2 says draw arcs. Okay. Now everybody, when you do this, it doesn't matter what the measurement is right here between the points. Okay. So just whatever it is, put your pointy point at the vertex, hold it tight, and then go ahead and draw an arc, okay? Lightly, okay? Don't push too hard or it'll give you weird results, okay? And remember, hold it on one side, and if you lean into it, there you go. Now, what you just did, you cannot change this. Keep the compass the same, come over to the end point of that segment we just did, and make the same size arc, okay? So make sure it's big enough. Okay, so all I did was draw a segment, and then I put an arc here through both rays, and then the same arc over here, okay? All right, this can be challenging because here's the next step. You need to change this. You're going to change your compass. You're going to measure from here to here on the original angle. So look what I'm doing. Put the pointy point here, put the pencil point here. You got to measure that. Is everyone doing this right now? You're measuring that arc you just did. Once you measure it, don't change it. Bring it over to that intersection that you made, and you're going to drag your pencil to make the X, the curved X that we're looking for. So look again. I measured right here. I brought it to this intersection with the pointy point, and I made my X. Once you have that X, X marks the spot, put a point there, then you can draw your angle from this point, end point, through the intersection. When you do this, I have to see all these marks. If I just see a random angle, that's not going to make it, okay? I got to see the original arc and the X over here, okay? If you did that one successfully, flip it over and try the other three. If you didn't, I want to come. So this is done over here. Okay, so we can do these three real quick. First, we draw a segment. We put an arc on both of them. The same arc. Then we measure from here to here. And then we mark it over here. Kind of light, hard to see, but there's an intersection right here. There it is, okay? Let's do it again on number 2. Okay, so I have my segment. When I do this, I'm gonna have to make it a big arc. When you're doing number 2, it needs to be a big arc, okay? Okay. And then I gotta make the same big arc over on this side. Big arc. Oh my gosh. Okay, and then last step, I measure all the way across from here to here. All the way across from here to here. If you don't make a big arc on number 2, it's not gonna look right. Same obtuse angle, okay? And last one real quick. Make an arc on both. Measure from here to here. And then make the mark over here. My pencil is out of, oh, it's not out of it. Here we go. So from here to here. Boom. All right. So you should be able to copy those angles. If you did not finish, that's fine, but I need to show you one more thing before we leave today. So everybody, can you look at bisect and angle for me? Again, whatever you're not done with, just pause, because we need to do one last thing, bisect and angle. Okay? Last page, bisect and angle. Is everyone looking at this? So first step, if you have an angle, it says to draw an arc. Okay, so you draw this arc. Then from here and here, you're going to make an X out here. So starting from B, you make an arc. Starting from C, you make an arc. It's going to look like an X right there. And then you just draw a line through that X. That is going to bisect, which means to cut in half, an angle. So let's do this together. On the bottom, we already have an angle. So first step was to draw an arc. It doesn't matter what size, okay? So whatever you want. Draw an arc right here, okay? It needs to go through both rays. Again, do it lightly so it doesn't move. If you feel like it's too loose, you have a ruler, a screwdriver over here. I know I need to tighten mine up right now. So. Cool. Now, once you have that, the second step is to draw arcs from these intersection points, from here and from here. So you can keep it the same size. Put your pointy point on this intersection at the bottom, and out here in the middle, you're going to kind of drag it and make an arc. Okay. Then put your pointy point on the other intersection, and then drag it, make an arc. Do you see that it makes kind of a curvy looking X right here? X marks the spot, and you can draw a line from the vertex, the corner of that angle, through that X intersection. And you can see that it cuts it right in half. Okay. If you flip it over, there's 3 more examples of it. Okay. So on number 4, you make an arc. And then from those intersections, you make arcs. And you draw a line through the middle where they intersect. Okay, same thing on number 5. And same thing on number 6. And that's the gist of these notes, okay? Bisecting an angle. So you try those bisecting an angle. If you're stuck on bisecting an angle, I can help you out. But that's the construction